No, I had a cold. It was like really bad. I was really stuffed up. I couldn't smell anything. So I was just trying to put her out. I didn't smell the gasoline. I just thought that it was
bucket of water.
Right.
Oh.
But it was not pretty.
Oh.
It cleared my sinuses.
Oh, I'll bet it
eventually.
Well, and then your eyebrows are gone.
And I was really hungry for barbecue. But I waited a few days. You know, it's respectful to mourn a day or two.
Yeah.
And then barbecue.
Yeah.
And that's only if somebody doesn't bring you barbecue, because sometimes
they do.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do. That's part of the whole.
Yeah, like a potluck kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi folks, welcome to Pop Pop Fizzle. I'm Jeff.
I'm Heidi.
And we are here for what we're calling a retro rewind. Now, what that means is that we're taking a look at an older film, something that neither one of us has seen before,
nope.
At least in this case. And yeah, so we just literally we didn't watch the film with the intention of coming to you and talking to you about it, but it was just too fun not to.
Yeah.
So Heidi was like, we should talk about this film and we should do something for the channel. So that's why we're here. So this is a retro rewind, and it is for a very interesting movie that came up on Amazon Prime, and we'll put the link to that movie down below. So if you would like to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Hoo boy, if you would like to watch it, you can click that link and go there and watch it. But we're going to talk about it for a few minutes.
Yeah.
So I would recommend, if as we start talking about this movie, if you have not seen it, pause, click that little link, jump over there. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can watch it for free. Mm-hmm. Hop on over there, watch the film, and then come back and talk about it with us.
But I think we're going to be talking spoilers here. So if you're not interested in the spoilers for this film,
or if you're not interested in the film and you just want to listen to us talk about it, that's fine too.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll leave the link below just so that you can find it, just in case. Yeah.
Just in case.
So this movie was called
Shark Attack 3
Megalodon. Shark Attack 3 Megalodon. Now, if you've been watching our channel, you know that I went to see the Meg recently, mm-hmm. and did my non-spoiler review for that. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed the Meg, and I won't spoil any of the Meg here. Mm-hmm. But I feel like looking at the dates in which the books that the book The Trench was released, which is what the Meg is based on, and all the books that have followed that, I really feel like Shark Attack 3 Megalodon was an early attempt to latch on to that concept and make something. Now,
I want to know what happened in Shark Attack 1 and 2. So,
I do as well.
So
yeah. So we may have to track those down and see what
following my train of watching movies, we watched a sequel before the original.
But there is literally only one reason why I hit play on this film, and I watched about 20 minutes into it. And then, or not even that long, really. 10. And then I paused it, and we dealt with some kid stuff and did some stuff with the family. And then later that evening, I said, Heidi, I started this movie. You got to watch it with me. And so we proceeded to watch from there. So the only reason that I hit play on this film was because, in spite of the fact seeing the Shark Attack 3 Megalodon, I wasn't sold on watching just another shark movie because I know they can be super cheesy. But this mentioned that it starred John Barrowman from Arrow. Now, we know John Barrowman because we've met him, and we've had our picture taken with him. We'll put that right here, somewhere in there. And yeah, so we've met John Barrowman, and we've enjoyed him on Doctor Who and Torchwood and Arrow. Yeah. And so seeing John's name on there was pretty cool, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. We'll check it out. It'll be cheesy, but it'll be cheesy fun, and we'll get to see a younger John Barrowman and check that out. So this was 2002. Yeah.
2002. So before he got on to Doctor Who or any of the things that we just mentioned.
Right. Now, this was apparently a production filmed in Mexico, and a lot of, I believe, a lot of Mexican people involved in the production. So some people heavily dubbed.
Yes.
Some people like John Barrowman, not so much.
No.
Although even some of John Barrowman's stuff was heavily ADR'd.
Yes.
After the fact, probably because of noisy boat motors and that kind of thing.
I mean, a lot. I noticed it mostly when they were out on the open water. That it was just like you couldn't not hear that it was ADR. So
now I'll fill in the part that you missed, which was the movie begins at a trench where some undersea divers are putting together some equipment. It's part of an undersea pipeline of cable. Fiber optic cable, and they're doing something on this project when they pick up something on the radar, something that's way too big to be down that low, and they even say that. They make a point of saying that. Now, all of the look of all of that was The underwater stuff was okay,
yeah,
but it was very murky. It was like, let's not light this very well so that people can't tell that we're in a giant tank filming this. But it was okay. It was decent for what it was. And then we see the blip on the radar, and then all of a sudden there's a shark attack, and we don't get to see anything. I mean, there was no gore really. There was none of that, and so it was just a bunch of terrified people watching the radar, and the blip disappeared, and the guy disappeared, and they're like, oh no, and then it was all over, right? And then it cuts ahead to 6 months later, 12 months later, something like that in Mexico, and we see John Barrowman's character delivering coffee to his
boss,
co-workers or whatever. It was some sort of like a sea patrol situation where they were hired by the hotel or the resort to patrol the waters and make sure their guests are safe and that kind of thing.
Because that's what the hotels do.
Well, you never know.
I don't know how they do things.
I don't either. It was apparent early on that John Barrowman was going to be kind of a
hero.
A hero, yes, but kind of a dude bro, very into women, and there were some, just so you know, we're a family-friendly channel. This movie not a family-friendly film.
No, language and nudity. Sorry, guys.
Yes.
So just note to you, don't watch with the kids.
Right. So when I started the movie, the reason I only watched 10 minutes going in is because I was helping my son with something. He was in the other room for a second. He had stepped out of the room, and I started the movie, and then like 5 minutes into the movie, there was nudity, and so I stopped it. Or I fast forwarded a little bit and then kept going, and I was afraid it was going to pop up again when he walked in, so I stopped it and waited. And there was some more later when you and I watched it together. So
really unnecessary. I feel.
Yeah.
Totally.
In the way that an 80s and 90s movie would have totally unnecessary.
Straight to video sort of thing would be completely unnecessary.
Now. Let's break this down so that we don't keep them too long. So let's talk about different elements. Okay, so first let's talk about John Barrowman. Okay. All right, as the star and, as you said, the hero of this picture, stalwart and true, or or soggy and
he was pretty soggy a lot of the time.
Yeah. And he had, I noticed, and of course probably the makeup and the styling production of all this was probably a little bit on the cheap. But he had some gray in the hair even then. And that was a long time ago. John was great with gray hair, no issues there. Yeah. But it was just noticeable in some close-ups that he was rocking some gray.
They did a lot of really weird close-ups where in scenes where I didn't really feel like close-ups were necessary. Also.
It was a little strange, and there were some very weird reaction shots too.
Yes.
The character of Kat Stone, who is our female protagonist, there were a couple of shots of her face reacting to things that I just felt like were not part of the same scene. Like they just kind of very samurai cop-ish.
Very samurai cop. But it wasn't just her. There was kind of like a friendly guy who was like friends with John Barrowman's character. Like I don't even remember what his character's name is.
I don't either off the top of my head.
But I remember Kat Stone.
Yeah, Kat Stone. Cataline Stone. Cataline Stone. That's right.
Yes. Not a.
It was like a really bad
romance novel,
90s.
Sort of.
Well, no, like I was thinking like a really bad 90s young adult novel, like like an adventure novel or something.
But there was a
Cataline Stone and the Raiders of the Lost Atlantic.
So there was a lot of samurai cop reactions happening, and
it was not as hilariously delightful
no,
as Samurai Cop, by any stretch.
But if you're not familiar, basically it's an actor or somebody on screen reacting to something
that was probably not filmed at the same time.
Or even part of the same conversation.
Yeah, just like somebody, imagine that someone puts a camera on you and says, quick, act upset, act horrified, act delighted, act sad, and then they just take those, and anytime they need a sad reaction or a delighted reaction, they just cut you in to that. Like you were reacting to all those things like rapid fire, but they just kind of threw them into the edit how they wanted. It wouldn't seem genuine at all. No. And that's kind of how this plays out. Yep. So I enjoyed John Barrowman in this movie.
I did too. I felt like he was he was doing his best.
There was a particular scene that was a bit of a stretch, and the segue into that scene was horrifying.
It was like the screenwriter had something in mind and then said, "Hey, you over there, like putting together all of the food. What would you say right here?" Oh, okay. It was like we were both kind of like half watching and we were doing like looking at email or something at the same time, and we heard that we're like,
Well, imagine
What?
Imagine that you're watching a PG-13 shark movie with bad dialogue and really cheesy effects, and then they decide they want to add a sex scene into the movie with not that sex scene didn't even have any nudity in it, did it? Maybe just a bit, briefly.
A little bit.
So it wasn't like a really graphic thing,
No.
but the segue into it was a very vulgar graphic comment,
very vulgar.
and it was just like, whoa, where did that go? I think Heidi and I both reacted audibly, like, whoa, what?
What? Did he just
say
that?
Yeah, he did.
We were both very for the movie that we were watching and the language that we were expecting and had already heard, that was still
way over the top.
Way over the top.
Yeah.
So
so that now we both were okay with John Barrowman in this role.
Yeah, he was fine.
We like him anyway, so we liked him in this role.
Yeah.
It was clearly early days for John.
Yeah, he carried himself well.
And I don't think, no offense to Mr. Barrowman or his fans, I don't think he's a great actor. Like I would never put him in sort of the higher rankings of actors when I think about acting. However, he's always serviceable. He's always charming. He's always
he always puts himself into it.
So I feel like he was there with this. Clearly not quite as polished as he is now.
Yeah,
but still
he was young.
Decent. Yeah, and serviceable. So we enjoyed him. Now let's talk about the effects.
Woo! I thought you were going to talk about the ancillary characters, because a lot of people looked like they were like somebody's cousin hired off the set, for something.
This is true.
A lot of people flubbing lines, and they're like, okay, well, I guess that's as good as we're going to get. Just keep going. So we got a lot of that, like people just kind of messing on lines a little bit.
Good enough.
Yeah,
good enough was the battle cry for some of these scenes.
Yeah, this is the best we're going to get out of these people.
I want to talk about one moment in particular between John Barrowman's character, whose name escapes me.
Still. I
think because I just thought of him as John Barrowman throughout the film. And then Kat Stone. There's a scene where he finds out that she's not who she said she was, because she tells him that she's a marine biologist.
Yes.
Yeah? But she's actually what?
Paleontologist, archaeologist,
something like that, right?
Some paleo marine.
And because a megalodon, being a prehistoric creature to some extent, yeah. So long after the dinosaurs, actually, which is funny because they don't talk about it that way, but they're separated by a long time. So but
for all you science nerds out there, we're well aware of that.
Yeah, but the notion is that she didn't want to cause a panic. So she just tells him that she's a marine biologist and that she's there looking for a mako shark, when she knows all along that it's probably a megalodon. And so there's a scene where he finds out that he's been lied to. And he shows up at her hotel room and knocks on the door. She opens the door and she sits down, and she just, for some unknown reason, has business cards spread out, her own business card, just spread out on the table. There's like 3 or 4 cards just laying there,
just sitting there,
that reveal the truth about her, which then he promptly sees and confronts her with. And what's great, not only is that who carries their own business card and spreads them out on the table like that? Nobody. But also, those cards looked as though they had been printed on somebody's LaserJet printer and then just cut out. So they were very not professional business card looking things. So
I would have been more inclined to believe that those are fake cards even.
So I'm thinking like, okay, if this was the best they could do on the day of the production, why not just work it into the dialogue and not have the cards?
Yeah, like just...
It's just one of those decisions that on a small budget film is mind-boggling to me, and it just shows that the people involved probably didn't have enough experience to go, there are better ways to do this.
We saw him looking up the shark tooth on some unknown website.
That was hilarious, too.
Oh, yeah, that was great. He took a picture right here, and then the picture magically showed up on the screen.
Of a shark tooth.
Of a shark tooth, the same shark tooth that he had, but no fingers.
Yeah, nothing on his camera connected to the computer at all.
Oh, I think there was a line. There was one line.
There was?
There was
one
line.
I didn't see that.
But the thing is, it was a magical camera that cropped out his fingers and made no background, and it just showed up just like that. It was magical.
Immediately. And
so if they had that sort of technology, and he had that unknown website where he could just say, found this unknown tooth.
Somebody tell me what it is, yeah.
He could have just, looked her up.
This is true. And then she instantly sees the tooth, which has nothing in the photo to show its scale or its size.
Nope.
It's literally just a picture of a tooth.
Just a tooth, no penny.
And she goes, That's what it is. I'm looking for that. That's just, this is what we've been looking for. It's like, it has no scale or size. How do you know that that's a megalodon tooth? You don't.
You don't.
That's the bottom line.
Like, if there was a penny next to it, you might at least be able to figure some of that out.
So Cat Stone, interesting character, and I say that facetiously.
At least they had the right, like, kind of age range for her to be, like, a scientist, like, who actually possibly theoretically even had a doctorate in that field.
Right.
So, like, I mean, she's...
But, of course, because of the kind of movie it is, it's like everybody tries to flirt with her throughout the course of the movie.
By the way, her lip gloss, on point at all times.
Right. Because, of course, when you're out in the water, you gotta have your lip gloss on correctly at all times.
At all times.
These are egregious things that happen in movies anyway. But... Yeah, but the notion that there was nothing about her that suggested she would be a woman that every man that passed her, crossed her pathway would flirt with her. And it's not saying anything bad about her.
No.
It just
she was clearly the main.
Yeah, so. I mean, and it's like, in real life, okay, if you take an attractive woman in real life and you surround her with men, you're going to have a couple of idiots that feel the need to come on to her, and that would be it. And then you've got normal guys who then, who look at that and go, that's not the right way to approach a woman. I'm going to wait for a better opportunity to get to know her. And then you have the guys that know that they're clearly out of their league, and they're not going to even attempt, right? So the notion that every single man that kind of comes across her path is attracted to her and says so, or lets her know in some way, is just ridiculous. But that's very typical of 80s and 90s sort of stuff. This was a little late for that to be happening, but still not atypical.
Well, maybe it was filmed a lot in the 90s.
Maybe
it
didn't get released until 2002.
Wow.
These things happen. But let's talk effects. So when we finally get to there's a lot of undersea shots of the shark.
Yeah. And thank you, Great White, for standing in for the Megalodon. Your jaw looks nothing like it, but, it's okay.
It was Great White? I thought it was Def Leppard. Oh, never mind. I know what you're saying. So the shark, there's a few attack scenes that happen underwater, and those, of course, they can use a real shark to sort of
make it look like they're doing
change
something.
some perspective.
Still not super gory though. I mean,
no, and it wasn't bad. But then we get to what we thought mistakenly was going to be the climax.
The climax scene.
Where they're out on the boat and they're trying to get, shots of this megalodon, and they're out there chumming the water
with this good little digital camera.
And we joked that they were going to need we need a bigger boat line, but there were references throughout this movie to other better.
Oh my gosh!
Films.
5 minutes in, we saw the first kind of look at the shark and the music. I was like, wait, what? This is not a copyright infringement. Okay, got it. Okay, so that's what they're trying to. Okay, got it. Cool.
Yeah. So it was pretty dang close. It was as if it were scored by Don Williams and not John Williams. But yeah, so the movie itself, there were a few things like that, and they kept mentioning. So they mentioned Deep Blue Sea. Mm-hmm. They mentioned Jaws. Mm-hmm. They mentioned things like that, and then it was like, really, how many more of these better movies are we going to name that draw attention to the fact that you're just not keeping up? And so that was kind of weird.
We're just gonna talk about every single shark movie we can find.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And Heidi and I even disagreed because it was like we were watching it. I said, they just mentioned Deep Blue Sea. And Heidi was like, well, I don't think that movie was out in 2002. So I looked it up and it was 1999. I was like, yep, they were referencing that film.
Yep.
So that was awkward and a little weird. So we get to this scene where they're out there, and as Heidi said, they're trying to get proof, right, of this megalodon. So they've got one guy that's got the giant, RCA, Betamax camera thing strapped to his shoulder, which was 2002 was way too late to have a camera that big.
No,
right?
That was like a 1982, 83.
So he's got this giant camera, and he's leaning over and filming. And then the actual paleontologist / archaeologist person is got this little digital camera that's like this big, and she's like, and I'm like, you're not getting anything with that.
Nope.
Those cameras were so bad. That's like a 2-pixel camera.
You gotta wave. You might see some foam.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
And so all that was just ridiculous and silly. Mm-hmm. And then we get our first shot of the thing coming up out of the water and trying to bite the back half of the boat. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Yeah. That was just...
very foamy, very foam rubbery.
Yeah. But that's okay. I mean, we all know that the shark on Jaws didn't work.
Sure.
Yeah, so I mean...
Sure, but the way that movie was filmed...
It made it work.
Made it work, yeah. So in this film, though, we get this attack and we think, okay, and it starts breaking apart the boat.
It jumped into the boat.
It jumped in the boat, knocked the boat over.
Bit through the hull.
Yeah, I did this whole thing, and so we're watching it and we're like, oh boy, this has got to be the climax,
this
right?
This has got to be the end. What are they going to do?
Including our heroine having a cheesy 90s hero line, where it's like you're extinct with a curse or something at the end.
But she pluralized it.
Yeah, and there was just like a shark. Yeah, but she pluralized it.
There's just one shark right here.
And so we were like, oh wow, okay, I guess that was an ending. Okay.
Okay, but she shot it with a soggy shotgun. Let's not forget that part. She retrieved it from underwater where it was filling in.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure even today that shotgun shells last too long under the water.
No, but that boat was filling up, and she's like, oh, I got a shotgun.
Yeah.
All right.
And so we had her and John Barrowman squaring off against the shark. So they kill it. And it's like, you think that that's going to be the end. And then, of course, Mama Megalodon comes along.
Because it's Shark Attack 3.
Because it's Shark Attack 3, yeah.
Yeah, the mom has to be involved.
Right. But every time Mama Shark comes out of the water to devour somebody, it is the worst effect ever. It's like they took a shot of an actual shark coming up out of the water and biting.
Yeah.
And then they just took footage of people and they went and shrunk it down.
It was like they tried to they photoshopped it in.
And it looked so flat and so bad. It was like here's a 3-dimensional shark eating this photo of 3 people. It looked so terrible. And we laughed. We were laughing hysterically. Every time it happened. And we would wait for it. We'd be like, uh-oh, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it. Oh yes! It's just like, yeah! Yay! And I honestly kept waiting for the helicopter to go down. When they climbed on the helicopter, I kept thinking the shark was going to
jump up high enough to get to the helicopter.
And then it would look just as flat. I was like, well, if this happens, it's going to be like a 2-dimensional shot of the helicopter. The rotor's not going to be moving at all. It's just going to be like, yeah. But it was spectacularly bad.
So, budgets and things for movies like this are usually not great. I would hope that, you get the most talented people you can find for the money that you have. And I'm sure that they did, but I can't even imagine what this would have looked like on a big screen. It was really, really bad. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure it was a straight-to-video
kind of thing. It was a straight-to-video sort of thing. It totally was, because none of that would have held up on a big screen ever. If you ever thought that was going to be, screened somewhere, like some fun drive-in movie, no. No.
Yeah, when was Jaws? 73? 74? Something like that? Yeah, and it was better.
Yes.
The effects were better.
Yes.
Than the 2002 Shark Attack 3 Megalodon.
Ooh.
And they even referred to the Megalodon as the Meg. Over and over again. I was just like, oh, really?
Seriously?
And I had just seen the Meg, so the comparisons were, say what you want about the Meg, whether you liked it or didn't like it, and maybe you haven't seen it yet, I don't know, no spoilers here, but it was a well-made film for what it was. Mm-hmm. And in spite of not being a big Jason Statham fan, I thought he was fine. Serviceable, as I said about John Barrowman, but the effects were fine. The effects held up. They were pretty good. So it's but going back and seeing that was just so cheesy. And then it just kept going. We kept thinking that it was over.
They kept doing it.
Yeah, we kept thinking it was over, and they just kept giving more things for that, more 2D images for that shark to devour. It was terrible. It was
like Pac-Man.
Yeah, it was like, how when you see an edit and the, one layer of the edit, the lighting's off, and it just ends up looking flat, but everything behind it's super... realistic or normal. Mm-hmm. It's so noticeable in every single time. And don't get me wrong, they're quick edits. It's not like they're taking a lot of time to focus on these things. Mm-hmm. But even in the second that you get to process, your brain's like, that's not real at all. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous.
Well, and the thing is, sometimes, some special effects don't necessarily hold up over time. There are things that came out, like the 3D type things that were really popular back in the 80s and 90s.
There are things that came out this year that the effects don't hold up because they're just rushed or whatever, and that's fine. Some great movies. There's some stuff in Avengers Infinity War that I look at and I'm like, oh,
They missed that.
There's a shot at the end of that movie with where you see Mark Ruffalo's head in the Hulkbuster armor or whatever, and it's like he looks like he's in one place and that Hulkbuster armor looks like it's in a different place. Like it was not a good blend.
Yeah.
But I mean those things happen and that's fine, and if they're short enough and they don't matter to the plot, you overlook them and you keep moving because you suspend your disbelief in that. But when you're making a shark movie about a giant shark, and you show the giant shark
eating everything,
and every single time it opens its mouth, it looks fake and bad.
Yeah.
It's a hard pill to swallow a little bit.
It swallowed a boat. Yeah. It actually swallowed a boat. It was kind of fun.
And it almost swallowed a submarine.
It almost swallowed a submarine too.
Yeah.
There was one scene. Now we're also big fans of Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Fun movie. But there is one scene there where like John Barrowman and Kat Stone were trying to get like a guy in a boat to come over, and I'm like, I'm coming. And they're like, come on, I'm coming. Just they just ate the whole boat. I was just like, I can't even. It was too much.
It ate a photocopy of the boat.
I know, but still, it was like.
But yeah, it was a ridiculous movie, but it was ridiculous in a way that if you don't mind some of the random pointless nudity or some occasional vulgarity, that it was a pretty fun.
It could be in a top number list with like movies like Samurai Cop and stuff like that.
Oh, I don't think it would be at the top of my list.
No, not at the top, but like if you had like a top 25 really bad movies, I think
it'd be somewhere in the hundreds.
But
it's a fun. But you know how fun movies can be fun to, or bad movies can be fun to watch with friends. Mm-hmm. This is one of those things. Like I enjoyed it so much more watching with Heidi and laughing with her than I would have enjoyed it on my own. Of course, had I watched it all on my own, I probably would have made you watch it anyway, because it was so hysterically bad. But
you would have felt sad for yourself for the minutes that I hadn't watched it.
Yeah, I would have felt sad for myself having to watch it again. But yeah, I would have, so I recommend, if you enjoy watching bad movies, get some friends together and click on that link and watch the film. Yeah. It is hysterically bad. And John Barrowman said much better things, so please don't think that this is
definitely not
any problem with him.
We quite enjoyed him in this film. We did.
And I found him as a straight man much more believable than the shark eating a boat.
Actually, way more believable.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm not saying way, but some.
If I didn't know,
I squinted.
If I didn't know, I wouldn't think otherwise. You did a good job.
So anyway, yeah. So that is the brilliance that is Shark Attack 3. Megalodon, we have not seen, as we said, Shark Attack 1 or 2, if there were such a thing. Who knows?
I don't know.
But we may check that out. And
we plan to go looking for it. We plan to do more of these retro rewinds of either good or bad old movies that we're just kind of looking at. If we haven't seen it already, or if it's an old favorite, something like that, we may be talking more about them.
What we run into is that we have so many things to watch and so little time to watch them that we always have to... we always have to give and take a little bit about what we actually get to, unfortunately. So that's why we haven't tackled any ongoing TV series yet, because we just don't have the time to film that. But, as things change for us, we will do some things like that, and more of these retro rewinds, and more really bad movie reviews, really unhelpful movie reviews, which I enjoyed doing. I still need to do another one of those.
Yeah, you do.
More unboxings, more kid stuff. We're
just trying out different things, hoping that you like it.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about for us, is just one, having a good time together, and two, inviting you along for the ride. So we appreciate you stopping by to watch the video with us. If you like this video,
hit that thumbs up.
And consider subscribing to the channel, because like I said, we like having you around. And if you're already subscribed, hit the bell icon so that you don't miss anything that we drop in the future. Until next time, folks.
Bye.
Bye.